his last General Assembly, because just like he said, you listen to an excerpt of his speech shortly. He said a new leader will be emerging from Nigeria to address the assembly for the 78th session. And also remarkable that this General Assembly is the first time in 2 years. We've been having virtual because of the corona virus for the General Assembly, but this time around we've had the General Assembly happen in person. So you've had over 150 world leaders gathered in New York. And just before I came in, I saw the United States President Joe Biden before the General Assembly addressing them. Victor Asije is a very good friend of mine. Ambassador Victor Asije is the International Society of Diplomats Special Envoy on Media to Nigeria. Always a pleasure to have to talk with you, Victor Asije, on diplomatic matters.
Oh, great to hear you. Get to hear your voice again, Aghogho Oboh, my padre, my very person. How are you?
Brilliant. Victor and I
this is awesome.
Victor and I go a long way.
I feel so honored.
Absolutely.
I feel honored to be on the platform.
Thank you very much, Victor. Victor and I go a long way. We go back to...
Thank you.
Go back to the United States. We go back to China. All right, so we'll sit back and listen a little to President Buhari before the General Assembly, and we'll come talk about some of the major highlights of his address. So, 99.3 Nigeria in for this, the President Muhammadu Buhari. The general debate of the United Nations General Assembly, the 77th version in New York.
How did you get that? To deliver positive change. In Nigeria, not only have we worked to strengthen our democracy, but we have supported it and promoted the rule of law in our sub-region. In the Gambia, we helped to guarantee the fast democratic transition since independence. In Guinea-Bissau, we stood by the democratically elected government when it faced mutiny. And in the Republic of Chad, following the tragic death of its president, the late Idris Dabe Itno, in the battlefield, we joined forces with its other neighbors and international partners to stabilize the country and encourage the peaceful transition to democracy, a process which is ongoing. We believe in the sanctity of constitutional term limits, and we have steadfastly adhered to it in Nigeria. We have seen the corrosive impact on values when leaders elsewhere seek to change the rules to stay on power. Indeed, we now are preparing for general elections in Nigeria next February. At the 78th anchor, there will be a new face at this podium speaking for Nigeria. Ours is a vast country, strengthened by its diversity and its common values of hard work, enduring faith, and a sense of community. We have invested heavily to strengthen our framework for free and fair elections. I thank our partners for all the support that they have provided our elections. As President, I have set the goal that one of the enduring legacies I would like to leave is to entrench a process of free, fair, and transparent, credible election through which Nigerians elect their choice. Mr. President, the multiple challenges that face us are truly interconnected and urgent, and your choice of this season's theme, a watershed moment, transformative solution to interlocking challenges, is apt, in keeping with our obligation as member states of this noble organization. We'll almost do our utmost to work with you towards resolving them. In this regard, I reiterate my delegation's full and resolved cooperation. Let me convey my final reflection from this famous podium. We live in extraordinary times with independent challenges but enormous opportunities. The face of change can seem bewildering, with sometimes a palpable and unsettling sense of uncertainty about our future. But if my years in public service have taught me anything, it is that we must keep faith with those values that endure. These include, but not limited to, such values as justice, honor, integrity, ceaseless endeavor, and partnership within and between nations. Our strongest moments have always been when we remain true to the basic principle of tolerance, community, and abiding commitment to peace and goodwill towards all. I thank you all.
All right, there you had an excerpt of President Muhammadu Buhari's speech at the United Nations General Assembly a couple of hours ago. In fact, about 2 hours ago, where he addressed the General Assembly, the 77th General Assembly. And a number of things he talked about. And if you noticed, as he brought his speech to a close, he focused on Nigeria's general elections, which will happen next year, saying that it was important that that legacy of fairness, equity, and justice is upheld while the poll is going to happen. And the 78th edition of the General Assembly will have a new Nigerian leader. Earlier on, he talked about the war against COVID. He talked about COVAX. Had some moment to also talk about the war in Ukraine and the crisis it was now leading to, food crisis. Talked about the Sahel, where the crisis continues to deal with us. And of course, one of the major talking points for this General Assembly has been around climate change. So quite a number of things to unbundle, and we'll look at some of them in today's discussion. Ambassador Victor Asije is still with us in International Society of Diplomats Special Envoy on Media to Nigeria. Ambassador Asije. Can you hear me? All right. We're going to reconnect with him. Appears that we've lost connection with him. But again, we're looking at the 77th General Assembly, where we just had President Muhammadu Buhari talk with us. And to the General Assembly, he addressed and mentioned a number of things which we have already talked about. Quite a lot to look at. And I wonder what you'll say his legacy has been with Nigeria's foreign policy. This is the last time he will appear before the General Assembly. On climate change, he talked about what climate change and the crisis has done, reducing opportunity and prosperity, which in Africa, Latin America, and some part of Asia also contribute to transnational organized crimes. Talked about Nigeria's plans towards achieving global net zero aspiration, adopted national climate change strategy that aims to deliver climate change mitigation in a sustainable manner. The number to send messages on WhatsApp again, 0809597 5805. Again, 0809597 5805. And that's on WhatsApp only. At Nigeria Info FM, at Aghogho Oboh, the handles you can send messages on social media. That's on Twitter. So appears we have Ambassador Victor Asije reconnected. And Ambassador Victor Asije is International Society of Diplomats Special Envoy on Media to Nigeria. Ambassador Asije, great to reconnect with you.
Good to hear you. Good to see you. Oboh, my personal person. How are you?
I'm great, Victor.
Great. You're doing fine. Keep it up.
Excellent. All right, so we have the President's, this is his final General Assembly appearance, and a number of things he talked about, and we've talked about earlier on how important this General Assembly will be for him. So first and foremost, let's look at how he concluded the speech, which was about the general elections next year, how it was important for him as a legacy to bequeath to the next administration, of course, to the Global Committee. Ambassador CJ.
Yeah, President Muhammadu Buhari only affirming to the world that he will hand over come next year, that election will definitely hold. So that because he believes in democracy, He wants the world to hear, to know that election will hold every.
Right.
Then that he's ready to leave. He's just trying to tell the world that he's not going to, hold on to power more than necessary. That is the impression he's giving the world, that nobody should think that he's going to stick to power. But he's also telling people who are making some, nice comments everywhere that he might not go, he might not leave. He's able to tell the members of the United Nations that he will leave. That's why I see that.
Yeah, and quite a tricky bend for him, because all around him, Nigeria, you've had a number of countries where crisis has happened in sub-Saharan Africa, military takeover in some places. Some places leaders have stuck and held on to power, especially in Central Africa. Playing around with the constitution so they can prolong their terms in office. But it looks like he tried to point out that Nigeria was a different story altogether. That's what I was saying.
Yeah. We all must know that Nigeria is a favored country, and the Nigerians are favored wherever they are. So we've had some, crises, some conflicts here and there, political, social, tribal, and all this. But the only thing that was near to, having that shit type attitude was averted. So he's able to tell the world now, I am leaving. I am leaving. I'll start my 2 tests. I am leaving. Election will hold. Election will hold. Yes, by February. The assurance is committed.
And interesting, Ambassador CJ, when he talks about how technology has shaped the world we're living in, when he moves from the fine points of technology in developing financial institutions, he talks about an influencer can go on social media and just make a pronouncement, and it becomes viral, and then it causes influences, and it changes the way people and governments behave. And then he then went on to say there was a time when the most important event at this assembly was the speech by the world's most powerful leaders. Now a tweet or Instagram post by an influencer on social or environmental issues may have greater impact. Then he goes on and says that Nigeria has had many unsavory experiences with hate speech and divisive disinformation. Increasingly, we also see that many countries face the same challenge. It's interesting that he talks about how his administration has interacted with social media. Of course, you think about the ban on Twitter, and so much talk about disinformation and misinformation. What are your thoughts on how the world will, or even Nigerians will view this administration interaction, especially with social media?
Yeah, the world is globalizing. The world is globalizing. And the technology is making it, faster. Speed. Everything is done with speed now. Speed through technology. If we talk to somebody in America now, you just open your WhatsApp, you can send me. Everything. Social media is helping. It's helping in different ways. So, and again, there is a lot of misinformation and disinformation, which make some countries now begin to come up with sanctions, or they ban the use of some of these, like Apple, Twitter and all this. They are banned for obvious reasons, that they don't want any misinformation, any disinformation about them, because the world is a village. Whatever you say, if you say anything against your president, before you know it, it's all over the world. So that's why I love a whole lot of disinformation and misinformation. People, young men, secondary school, people, artisans, market men, everybody can now, manipulate information. You see, everybody is going to call it a pseudo journalist. They take photo, they paste online, they send social media. But it is good to be regulated. I think that is what is in there.
All right, Ambassador CJ, we're getting comments also on WhatsApp. If you got comments, questions, it'll be great to hear from you. 0809 597 5805. Festus writes in from Ogun State, says, our president seems to be like a father who is good outside. You know the rest. I wish I knew the rest. Christian from Ajah says that I read President Buhari beg the international communities for loan forgiveness. Why is he disgracing the country? We have experienced no earthquake, no tsunami, no war. So what happened to all the loans he's been collecting the past 7.5 years? Christian from Ajah. Interestingly, Ambassador CJ, the president talks about countries that have had to go through a difficult time. And to imagine that Nigeria had been forgiven its debts during former President Olusegun Obasanjo's time through a lot of diplomatic maneuvering. 20 years down the line, we hear President Buhari talk about debt forgiveness for certain countries which are going through very difficult times. He didn't mention Nigeria particularly, but obviously it does look he's pointing his fingers towards Africa's most populous nation too.
Yeah, let me say this. Every country in the world is developed, rich, industrialized. Every country, rich countries, they are in debt. They have their challenges. No country anywhere have its own challenges. It's not enough to say, okay, because the president went there to be great, so he's not fooling himself. The president is the head of the country. Is the head to represent us. So we just not begin to, cast aspersions or call names. Everybody, the state Nigeria is now, the countries of the other developed countries, they've gone through it. It's a phase. It's a phase. The phase we are in. To go, this will also pass away. So, it should not be accepted. We should be praying for our leader. Because if you are outside the government for this, we can do anything. But when you come in, you now see, so but I think if he's talking without better information, it will be a good thing for Nigeria. It has happened, but I just time. The other countries of the world, the United Nations, know the problem in Nigeria. So if he has not gone direct to say cancel debt, he knows what he wants. If he comes away, we'll be happy.
Okay. He knows what he wants. I guess we, haven't covered the foreign desk for a number of years. This next point has often been talked about, and not to underemphasize why it's important. The president brought this up also to saying that I remain firmly convinced that the challenges that have come so sharply into focus in recent years and months emphasize the call by Nigeria and other member states for the reform of the Security Council and other UN agencies. He says, change is long overdue. We need more effective and representative structures to meet today's demands. Nigeria wants a seat at the Security Council. At least is what the cry has been for several years. And the president also has included this in his final appearance at the General Assembly. Ambassador CJ, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I think everything comes. The General Assembly as the supervisory and regulatory organ of the UN. They have processes. There is a process. It's not about when you agitate or when you call for, and we want to be members of, because it doesn't just happen overnight. You see, the 5 permanent members are there. Then there are other ones they give 2 years or elect for 2 years. But everything that has been programmed or when the UN came into force, some of them are still programmed. They are still there. The structure there in UN is in there. Sometimes some people are feeling, they feel that the UN is not up to its game. That there are supposed to be information, changes.
Right.
But because Africa. Nigeria is the heart of Africa. And if Nigeria speaks, it speaks for Africa. So if Nigeria has been agitating for membership of the Security Council, and up to now, and as strong leaders have tried.
Right.
But what I say is, let's not give up. One day we will get it.
Let's not give up. One day we may get it, is what
Yes.
Ambassador Victor CJ says. And we're still taking in comments on WhatsApp. At some point, we'll also open the line so that we can also interact with you. We're having a look at the President's speech at the General Assembly, the 77th General Assembly, where about two hours ago, he spoke to the international community, and quite a number of things we're just cutting through so that you can have an idea of what his stance. And Ambassador Victor CJ has been most gracious to help us. So we have issues also too here. The president's also talked about the COVID-19 pandemic and Nigeria's approach in dealing with it. What are your thoughts? He's mentioned COVAX, private groups like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and what they did to help Nigeria go through the period. Your thoughts, Ambassador CJ?
Well, the COVID-19 pandemic was a global one. Even in other countries who had the money, COVID-19 swept Western side. But there were assistance from, private organizations, international organizations, United Nations agencies to help Nigeria.
Right.
To overcome this time, there are still some vaccines that are being sent to Nigeria from other parts of the world. The opposition is played as a shocker. It is applying so many things. Today, some countries are yet to relax their restrictions because they want to see COVID-19. So, as far as the guys concerned, we should be very happy with that. We are favored. Nigeria is a favored country. The people are favored. Look at the kind of environment we live,
right.
The life we live. Yeah. We live in, some people live in slums. Mosquito is always with us. But not too many people die from COVID-19.
Right. All right, Ambassador.
Not too many people die.
Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll still touch basis on some of the other major talking points around the president's speech. And we'll interact with you. I see several messages now dropping in on WhatsApp. We'll take those messages also too on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
That is fine.
...2022 is here. Excitement is in the air. You've been waiting for this, and now it's time to experience it. You could win a trip to the FIFA World Cup plus other amazing prizes when you spend a minimum of 50,000 naira monthly or $1,000 with your Visa card in at least 5 transactions. Get ready. Football lives here wherever you are. T&Cs apply. Visit visa.com.ng for more. Visa, official sponsor of the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022.
Our friend Oliver is what you call a man with a huge appetite. Gigantic, actually. And if there's one phrase we have come to know Oliver for, it is this.
More data, please.
No matter what we offer him.
More data, please.
So guess what we did? We heard Glow created new data plans for people like Oliver, and we got him exactly that. And guess what Oliver said?
Excuse me, please, is this all for me? Only me?
Now, Oliver certainly has more than enough data. All thanks to the Glow Mega Data Plans.
With the longer validity you get on Glow Mega Data Plans, you can work from home with ease, run your business better, download non-stop, stream music and movies endlessly, learn online, and share data with anyone. No worries. Get 225 gigabytes at 30,000 naira for 30 days, 425 gigabytes at 50,000 naira for 90 days, and 1 terabyte at 100,000 naira for a year. Dial star 777 hash now to start enjoying these mega plans.
Glow Unlimited.
Genpower Inverter AC by Higher Thermocool. Genpower Inverter AC by Higher Thermocool. I've got 70% electricity savings. With 70% electricity savings, life feels so amazing. If you ask me why I stay with higher Thermocool, because they make things better and they make better things. Giving me 70% electricity savings. Higher Thermocool Gen Pan. Better AC. It's a cooler, better deal. That is why life is super cool. The Gen Pan AC higher Thermocool. I stay super fly and super cool.
Get the Higher Thermocool GenPal Inverter Air Conditioner. That's a whopping 70% electricity saver. That's less bills, more comfort. Higher Thermocool, always there for you.
Shay, you wanna feel that boost? Allow me to introduce Amber Energy Drink. No more shutting down, we're going up. Oh yeah, get ready, stimulate your energy. Amber now for energy. Go around, tell somebody. Oh yeah, get ready, stimulate your energy. Amber now for energy. Go around, tell somebody. What are you waiting for? Yeah, now you can do more because Amber Energy Drink there for you. Amber Energy Drink there for you. No need to go too far, you can find it where you are because Amber Energy Drink there for you. Amber Energy Drink there for you. Yeah, yeah, Amber there for you. Yeah, Amber there for you.
Amber Energy Drink. Stimulate the energy in you.
Jenny baby, this one when you dey shine teeth like this, nobody gonna say them just serve you breakfast.
Which breakfast? I've moved on. When I'm enjoying better discounts at select stores with my Keystone Pink card, I'm attending lifestyle events, networking, and raising my game. All thanks to my Pink account. So you see, my dear, last, the only thing serving me right now is the Keystone Pink account. Oh,
and there's more. Enjoy a 2% discount on business loans, free capacity building and mentoring, and access to Pink network platforms when you open a Pink account. Visit the Keystone branch nearest to you or call +234 700 2000 3000 to get started. Keystone Bank, we grow together.
You summon the oracle now. Greetings, my king. How can the oracle serve you? You will tell me the secret to your power. How did that keke move without a driver? My secret is the power of 5G. Tell me more about the power of 5G. With hyper-fast internet speeds, low to zero lag and buffering, multiple connections and quality data sharing, 5G will give you amazing things like remote surgeries, self-driving vehicles, file downloads at 2 GB per second, smart homes, instant language translation, and so much more. 5G's amazing technology will change the way we experience life and the internet. Get ready to encounter the incredible. And remember, no be juju, now MTN 5G.
99.3 Nigeria Info, your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
Welcome back, 99.3 Nigeria Info. It's 29 minutes to 6. How time flies when you're having a great discussion. Ambassador Victor CJ, Special Envoy on Media to Nigeria with the International Society of Diplomats here. He'll tell us a little bit about that shortly. And the messages continue to pour in. Ambassador CJ, are you still there with us? Ambassador CJ, are you there? All right, he'll hook up shortly and reconnect. And please reconnect with Ambassador CJ. Let's hear some more. In case you're just joining in, we're having a review of the President's speech at the General Assembly in New York, the 77th General Assembly. It's his last time on the block, like we say here. And he's taking time out, talk about a number of things. A number of you don't seem to agree with. But I guess you probably will agree with him about the importance of next year's general election and Nigeria being he says it's his legacy to bequeath to the next administration that we hold free, fair, credible general elections. And I guess it's very important to the over 200 million Nigerians that next year's elections are very important, and he's sounding it on the global stage. Another thing he talked about was insecurity in the Sahel and what role Nigeria is playing or has already played too. He talked about that also. And he talked about the UN Security Council on why he thinks that Nigeria and other countries, not on the body, on the board. Yeah, CJ, good. Great to have you back. Why they're not in the country. So, quite a number of things, and Ambassador CJ has joined us. Can you hear me clearly now, Ambassador Victor CJ?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, excellent. And so we'll go quickly over some of the messages and get your response to them. Someone says here, debt cancellation cannot happen in today's Nigeria because the corruption that is ongoing is an alarming rate. Moses Kama from Ajegunle. Then Tunde from Magboro says, Nigeria is not the only country in the world. What reasonable and proactive countries do is effectively manage these challenges rather than compound them, as we are fond of doing here. Our leaders are just not compassionate enough to make life worth living here. Forget all the sweet words. Nigerians are not moved, he says. Kenneth from Agbado says, please, I want your guest. Okay, good. He goes, this is Kenneth from Agbado, who says, I want your guest to talk more about the importance of a sitting president calling and congratulating an incoming president. We saw what played out in the recent Kenya presidential election. The sitting president refused to congratulate the incoming president. What should Nigerians be expecting from President Buhari? That's an interesting one there. All right, so Victor CJ, we have a number of reactions on calls for debt cancellation. Not so many Nigerians writing to us on WhatsApp in support of that, but I guess it's what it is. So,
hello.
Can you hear me, Ambassador CJ?
Yeah, you have to project. This is,
Okay, you can. Okay, great. See if it's clearer now. Can you hear us clearly now?
Yes.
Good. All right. So we go back to some of the important points the president made in his speech. Climate change is very important, and he's also mentioned what Nigeria is doing about the climate change agreement we have signed on to, and he's talking about efforts taken at the national level around emissions and a number of things going on. And he says that I did say that Nigeria was not asking for permission to make the same mistake that others made in creating the climate emergency. And he's talking about now we know what we can do to mitigate the effects of the climate crisis and the related energy challenge. But Ambassador CJ, when you think about it very well, you look at what is happening around the country. We have issues around fuel. We've got problems with cooking gas, and the everyday man and the woman on the street finds it cheaper and more affordable to go and get firewood to cook, because cooking or doing anything with non-renewable energy is almost like mission impossible, and it's out of the reach for the everyday man or woman. Let's hear what you think about that.
Well, deforestation is at this further than, when there are programs, some measures to check to mitigate effects of climate change,
right,
are not really being enforced totally. The political will to really effect the policies are not there. Okay, now some states will come up with the issue of tree planting, for instance. They do what they call tree planting. They announce, inaugurate so many projects. Those projects never see the light of the day. The trees are always, trodden upon, either run over by vehicles or Okada, or washed away by floods. So it's got to say that we need more political will to see that these policies are implemented. Climate change also is a global issue. Some countries of the world have a kind of good measures to reduce gas emission and all this. So Nigeria has been saying we have policies to do this. Basic gas flaring in Nigeria Delta.
Right.
That is good. Forest deforestation. I learned recently that Nigeria currently have only 5 million in the forest. So many things are going. So, and vehicular emissions in cities is contributing to ozone depleting substances. These are all problems. These are things that, the government cannot do it alone. I don't tell you. The government cannot do it for him, but the government will only create the enabling environment, provide the necessary, support to NGOs, to environmentalists, to different people.
Right.
We need to reorganize ourselves. We are not environment friendly at all. We are not. We are not. If some of us who have gone out, we have seen how other areas are planted, how everywhere. So why would they not be living a better life than us? So policies are made. The government make policies at the federal level, state make policies, local government make policies. But there is always policy somersaults. Policy somersaults. When another government comes, there is no continuity. Government ought to be a continuum. But what we have is, whether APC was going before he left, PDP will come in, will assisting the programs of APC. Or APC came in, he will now do away with the programs of PDP.
Right. All right.
So we forgot that we are one indivisible country. We are one together.
And
for that.
Right. And climate change, together with the crisis in Ukraine, incidentally, at the major focus for this year's General Assembly. And of course, you don't need to think too far why both events have taken the attention of the entire international community. So the crisis in Ukraine, I see President Buhari talk about it, but as expected, he's not talked about anyone being at fault. He's called for the war to end because of the consequences, which we're already feeling in the African continent, Nigeria, with food insecurity, which suddenly has hit us gobsmack in the face and has worsened our inflation. Instead, he talks about this crisis in Russia and Ukraine has cemented his the call for why nuclear disarmament should be on the top of the agenda for all the countries in the world. And he says we're justified in asking for this because of what the crisis in Russia and Ukraine. You thought probably he would have sided with any of them at this General Assembly. I mean, that would have been shocking.
No. At that level, he cannot, he doesn't have to take side because he's only advising that they should be peace. It will cease fire. It shouldn't be. If two people are fighting, the capacity comes in to make peace. But the way and manner Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, is going about it,
right?
This one's imagination. Because look at it has a shifting effect on all the other countries, people from different parts of the world who are living in Ukraine. This is a social problem already. So if he calls for peace, then that's a good call. Because most Nigerians that were there, young Nigerians, are back home.
Right.
Some are going to other countries. So those ones will not even know where they are going, where they come from. So it's either that you and us tried, the Secretary General went there, spoke to the two of them, which is expected of him. But it's another okay, from calls. The president of US called him. But why should we need the Obama? It shows many people have died. Property worth billions of naira have been destroyed. When even the fact is, we are in a competitive world. People want to flex more, they want to show their power. When it was happening in Korea, they tried to perfect their own what do you call rockets and everything. I don't want to show I want to be in charge. And it's a reality. It's a problem. So if it calls for peace, that is expected. Because what affects them there affects us here.
Right.
The world is a greater village. Nobody is an island. People, Nigerians are there, all that. People are in Ukraine. Bigger people. Thousands of people are in Sudan. Nigerians are in Sudan. This is a part of the world. So if there is crisis in other parts of the world, then it will affect us. Because Nigerians are widely traveled. There is no place on earth that you can find Nigeria unless that place has not been discovered.
And if it was discovered, I assure you that probably
Nigerians,
they're the ones.
People engage, young men of Nigeria engage in irregular migration. They are adventurous. They want to discover. They don't want anything that will hold them back. They are not better.
All right. So great. And how time flies when you have a great discussions. Yes, as a cliche, I probably would have to do away with at some point in my life. But I dare say, for this one, it does make a lot of sense. Ambassador Victor CJ is the special envoy on media to Nigeria, International Society of Diplomats. So very quickly, International Society of Diplomats, before I go take a couple of calls, Ambassador CJ, what's this all about?
It was put together by some offices in Europe, North America, Asia.
Right. All right.
Sustainable platform for diplomats.
All right.
Not others.
All right, great. In case you missed that part, because of the line was a bit cracked there. He said it's a platform put together by career diplomats 7 and then also former career diplomats also to interface. And what a great job he's been doing so far with the society. This will form a major discussion, I can imagine, Ambassador CJ, but I guess our work is done on this one. Thank you very much, Ambassador Victor CJ.
That's mine. I feel so honored.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great. So we're going to open the phone lines and get to hear what you think about the president. His last hooray at the General Assembly, and it'll be great for your assessment. And the number to call 0700 993 993 993. Again, 0700 993 993 993. Quite a number of things the president talked about, and from the comments I'm seeing here on social media and on WhatsApp, it appears that the debt cancellation plea by the president doesn't sit well with many of you, and a number of you also don't think Nigeria's call to be added into the Security Council is justified. What do you think? This is perhaps the best opportunity for us to assess the president's foreign policy in 7 years. The next General Assembly will have a new Nigerian leader. Hello and good evening.
Hello.
Great to have you join us 99.3.
Aghogho, good evening. How are you, sir?
I'm brilliant. Your name, please, and where you're calling from?
You have to see my calling from Ikeja. I greet our guest, Ambassador. Good evening, sir.
All right. He's dropped off. Go ahead, please.
Number one, if you look at the country Nigeria, how strategic we are, naturally we would have thought this kind of assembly should be a place where Nigeria would talk and the world would listen. But we go by what has happened to this country in the past 10 years or beyond, especially in the last 7 years, there's nobody going to take Nigeria serious. And when you talk about the Security Council, I think I remember 1996, the people from Africa have been trying to get a seat, a permanent seat. But I think the people who are already there, the big boys, like we saw in UK 3 days ago, they are not really ready to expand that space for any African country. And if by the standard of what we see in Africa today, anybody in Africa is going to get membership, I think South Africa is in best position, or Egypt. Nigeria is not in that position right now. If you look at what our president is saying, nobody, see, if you go to that kind of place and you start reading a speech, a prepared speech, you're not talking to anybody. You know, as a leader, what you're going to be saying there must be something that is originally your own idea, or maybe you have a majority of input into. You get it now. But when some people just prepare speech for you, and you go there to read and read in a dull manner, people are not going to respect it because you don't own those ideologies. You don't own anything there.
Right. Thank you very much.
For instance, last year, our president was calling for debt cancellation. What has happened to the debt that you have already incurred? So nobody's going to take Nigeria. So Nigeria is not, as far as we speak right now, Nigeria is not relevant in the scheme of international politics.
Thank you very much. It says Nigeria has lost its voice and it's no longer being listened to. What do you think? Hello and good evening.
Ifobo, good evening, sir.
Great to have you join us.
Shakuman.
Hey, Makushi.
Yalla. The ambassador, I greet. You know, the other day I said to you, look, all these organizations, I don't know why Nigeria is trying to, when we go there, we don't, look at what Alhaji Titilope just said now. You know, yesterday he was saying something that he was discussing about education, right?
Right.
Then today, what happened in the court? Hello, Chifobo.
Yeah, we're with you, Christopher.
For the past 7 years plus, look at where we find ourselves. And you want to make impact there? Do you think they will take you serious? Like he said, the legacy or whatever they want to leave to conduct whatever, he has no choice. He has no choice. That election must hold. And he will hand over to whoever wins the election.
Right.
Thank you, Chifobo.
All right, thank you very much. Elections must hold. All right, sorry about that. Do call back. I think I can squeeze in one more call. And why that call is being sorted out. Let's go to WhatsApp. All right, I think I can take that final call now. Hello and good evening. Hello, you're quite far from the mouthpiece. Hello and good evening. No, this is can't go through. All right, we squeeze this one in. Hello and good evening. Hello and good evening. All right. Kindly turn down the device you're listening with so we can hear you clearly.
Hello.
Hello, good evening. What's your name, please, and where are you calling from?
Good evening. My name is Dan.
All right, Dan, you're too close to the device you're listening to, so we need you to move away from it so we don't get the feedback.
All right. Hello.
Well, appears he cannot run away from his radio. Hello and good evening.
Hey, Shakumaku.
Hey, Makushi, quickly go ahead. Your name,
Yala,
please.
Yala.
Where are you calling from?
This is Pastor Ladipo.
Pastor Ladipo, let's hear what you have to say.
I'm calling from Orilegon.
Please go ahead.
You see, the kind of policy or the person that take over the affairs of the leadership of this nation now must have a very deep understanding about international policy, how things are being run. Because as it is now, Nigeria is no longer having that strong relevance with the international community again, especially because our president, this current president, the values he placed on some things cost us that more devalue from that international community. So whosoever that is coming into power now must have that understanding how we need to rebuild our reputation through strong policy. Is very important. Thank you and God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much and always concise, Pastor Ladipo. And that brings us to a close of the Big Hat Fact today, and plenty for us to think and wonder about. I'm sure a lot of what the president talked about will form a major talking point. I can assure you also to the ASU story and the shutdown of tertiary institutions in this country is a rolling conversation that isn't yet over. We will take a short break. We come back. It'll be time for the news, and after the news, we have I'll be back in for the After Discuss show. So quite a lot for you to still listen to and engage on your number one talk news and sport radio station, 99.3 Nigeria Info. And do I have to tell you that you have to yalla, 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 yalla.
And sports after this.
One man.
And I want to assume that you would run because I want to give the listeners context for the conversation.
In 2019, you were running mate to Atiku Abubakar. What did you learn then that you will not repeat this time?
Yes, when is the president coming out to address us?
There's a few things. One, I have a burden and a passion for young people.
The fact that you have elected a man does not mean then you begin to order him around. The president will do whatever is good for the country at any given time.
Mr. Adeshino, isn't the president responsible to the people?
What should the next president do to root out stakeholders who are complicit?
You fire those that need to be fired are fired.
It's looking like a brand new Chelsea, attacking with so much fluidity. And what can you say about that, Martin? I know you follow Chelsea quite closely.
I live close to the Chelsea training ground. That's what you mean by that. I'm not.